We want to introduce to you a therapist that we are interviewing today who's been in the business about 12 years with Arizona Family Therapy Group, Mr. Garron Griffitts. He specializes in addiction and trauma, adolescence, relationships. He's a wonderful therapist, and we want to pick his brain on some of these topics. All right, so let's talk about, first of all, about anxiety. Talk to us a little bit about what is anxiety, how, and if you could add, how is it affecting teenagers right now?
You mentioned that you thought it would be beneficial for teens to learn a little bit about adolescent developmental psychology or brain structure, brain development. Could you speak to that a little bit, and then I have a follow-up question.
Well, I just think it's really important to really understand some basic brain development. Nothing big they're going to tune out, but if they know that the emotional part of their brain, the limbic system, is pretty in full development, but in hyperactive right now in adolescence, then well, there's that piece, and then that they understand their cortex, and specifically their prefrontal cortex that you talked about earlier, is underdeveloped until they're anywhere, people are saying, from early mid-20s to early 30s, and that's the decision-making process, that's the braking system that they don't have yet. And I think when they can, at least my hope is when they can, if they get a basic understanding of that, it may help them. And I tell my teens that I work with, it doesn't give you, just because you don't have that ability as much as I do or your parents do as an adult, and it doesn't mean all adults do well at this either, be real clear. Adults make some pretty poor decisions. I just tell them they have to work harder at it, and they have to be more mindful to make those decisions and to look at the pros and cons maybe a little more intently than an adult would.
To that point, is the younger mind more prone to addiction than a more developed older mind?
I think the research would say absolutely, because it's just not developed yet. It's going to get those neural pathways develop earlier and stronger. Mm-hmm. And so the longer they do something, the greater the need or the greater the opportunity for addictive cycle and behavior. Mm-hmm. Most of the adult addicts that I work with started that problem in adolescence, the vast majority.
The novelty piece really plays into that, yeah. When something is novel,
right.
And to adolescents so much is novel, you know, whereas somebody who's much older, kind of seen that, done that, been there.
If people would wait till 25 to start engaging in any of these behaviors, whether it's pot, alcohol, pornography, any other drug or behavior, we'd have a lot less addiction. They may do it, whatever, socially responsibly, but they're probably less likely to be addicted. But then trauma plays a huge role in addiction too.
Would you say that most addiction then begins in a more undeveloped mind, a younger mind?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.